Regardless of the fact that the people of the world now have advanced technologies, there are still a lot of unknown events that take place in our world, especially in the sky. So, I would like to show you some mysterious sky events recorded on video. Weird flashes appear all over the world that make people wonder what they are. The majority of scientists believe that these flashes are due to asteroids and meteors flying by. Here is a video of a mysterious flash that was recorded in Russia in 2017. The local residents were confused and scared. The local police received a lot of phone calls. People also said that they heard a loud noise. So as a result, many believe that it was a meteor flashing by. It could not have been lightning, since that day there was no reports of thunderstorms in the area. In South Carolina, this woman recorded this strange sky that looked like waves from the ocean. It could be a coincidence. However, a lot of people believe that it's the result of the secret weapon, HAARP, that is developed to manually affect the weather.
This is what the sky looks like. Never seen it in my life. It looks almost like,
on July 9, 2015, Texas residents witnessed a UFO that appeared above them. The most interesting thing is that instead of the regular plate-shaped UFO ship, they saw a geometric cube. Of course, there are a bunch of photos by different people posted on social websites. Here is one of them. This man from El Paso also signed under the photo that before the cube's appearance, a strong wind appeared from out of nowhere. Here, another man snapped pictures of this event. From his angle, we can see that it's not a cube, but rather a cuboid. Another woman reported that she saw this cube when she went for her lunch break. At first she thought that it was just a huge balloon, but when she took a closer look, she realized that the cube had a really enormous size, and it was making a weird noise. Of course, this cube could be a prank, but what if it was really an alien ship? On December 2016, residents of a Russian city recorded this weird UFO object. People recorded this UFO and uploaded it to the social network websites. See these two unknown objects that appear in the sky.
Первый раз в жизни такое?
Вообще.
Четко ведь видно.
Конечно, она ворочается.
Right after the New Year, 3 suns rose above several cities in Europe. 2 or 3 suns appearing in the sky is an optical illusion that is very rare. It usually only happens in really cold weather when the sun reflects lights into the icy air. This unknown event was recorded by a telescope in Hawaii. Scientists believe that the source of this light came from the Earth. Thank you all for watching. Have a good night.
Hey YouTube, this is James Leffer with the Impossible channel. It seems that we have an alien invasion. I know that a lot of you believe that this might be a deception, something that the humans might be actually doing and not aliens, right? But if it's the case, then you should be warned. It's happening. This is like a lot of videos are coming in, one after another. Now, if this is really an alien invasion of some sort, they're probably coming from Nibiru or Planet X, which was spotted by a subscriber of ours. And this video is just gonna shock you just as the UFO videos. This is actually more shocking than the UFO videos, because the UFO videos, folks, they could be CGI. What I'm about to show you, this isn't. This is a normal time-lapse of what's supposed to be a giant anomaly in the sky. Planet? Sun, dwarf star, I don't know, you name it. People are calling this Planet X, and it's getting bigger. Now the thing is, it's June 18th during this recording, if I'm not mistaken, and the moon is not supposed to be even half full. It's almost vanished. It's not even supposed to be in the sky. I mean, like, so this is, whatever this is, people are mistaking it for the moon. But this isn't. Don't be fooled. One of the reasons is when the sun is up, it disappears out of thin air. So if you have anything you want to send it over to thatimpossiblechannel@gmail.com. I'll be waiting for you. And don't forget to leave a like, comment what you think about all this. This is really crazy, isn't it? And share it. I'll see you again.
Também tá fazendo. Vamos. Say hi. Parece muito lindo os sóis. Ali, ó. Ali tem os sóis. Ali tem outro. Gente, eu tô mostrando, ó. Um ali e outro ali, ó. Vocês acham que vocês só tem um só aqui em Nova York? Ali, ó. Nós não estamos mentindo.
What the fuck is that, nigga? That's That's crazy, bro.
今日は3月10日、2011年。ここに見える雲は本当変わっているので、ちょっと撮影しています。
Got it, sweet. This is the 8th or 9th one that went over.
That is fucking weird.
Not lanterns because it's not windy.
Dude, it looks like a red light.
What the fuck is it? It's orange, but...
There's Jeff. Hi, Jeff.
I know, you're probably right.
That is fucking weird.
Dude, what is it?
I'm gonna tell you, dude,
what is that?
it could be the drones. Dude, they've been authorized you put 30,000 drones in the air.
That's 8 or 9.
You know?
You still see it?
Yeah, but I can't get it on the camera. It's easy as hell to see. This is bullshit.
What is that? Okay, there, over there, in the volcan, in the clouds. What is it?
Tonight, investigators are trying to solve a bizarre mystery in Flagler County.
A number of people say they felt the ground shake today. Several people around the Palm Coast area called in to report it. And people in the Daytona North area, as well as in Deltona and as far north as St. Augustine, say they felt it too. Channel 9's Jason Allen is live in Flagler County, and Jason, some worried it was an earthquake.
The Emergency Management Office has been on the phone here all day trying to figure this out. This was not a boom, an audible boom, at least not as described to us, but it was more of an actual shaking, buildings shaking. In fact, a dispatcher here at the county actually felt it happen.
I live alone, I'm blind, and a while ago the house was shaking. Did you happen to know?
I'm not sure. We're actually getting quite a few calls about it now. We're having someone check it out, okay?
That 911 call was one of about a dozen calls that poured into Flagler County about 9:30 Friday morning. An unexplained phenomenon described as everything from a low rumble to a window shaking movement rattled residents from St. Augustine to Palm Coast.
Around rumbled and the building rumbled, and definitely abnormal for here.
We found at least 2 people who have experienced sonic booms and earthquakes from time spent in California.
That's what it felt like. It definitely felt like an earthquake.
Enough to make you look toward the ocean and go, okay, what's next? Tsunami?
5/21, 2011. It's right now 4:47 a.m. Saturday morning. This noise has been going on since like
3 o'clock. Off and on. I don't know what the hell that is. See the moon up there shining bright. That noise. What the hell it is?
Check this shit out. Listen to that. That is fucking crazy.
Where's that from?
I don't know. Sounds like a giant flame or something. I'm gonna walk across the street. No idea what that is. That's the weirdest shit I've ever heard.
Feels like it's getting close, Dylan. Yeah. There went something. What is that? That feels like it's getting very close. Where is it? It's not back that way. It's up in this corner. Don't go out there. Do you see anything? I know it's coming from there somewhere.
Get the kids in the bathroom.
I hear the wind.
Get the kids in the bathroom.
Get in the bathroom. Get. ground for sure. I feel it. You see anything? Yes, ma'am. Have there been any reports of any tornadoes out toward the airport? It's really, really loud out here. I'm on Spring Hill Road on Walnut Grove Lane. It's about 3 miles south on Spring Hill Road. And it has just been going on for a while. Walnut Grove Lane. Sorry, I'm shaking. Okay, I don't, okay. Okay, thank you so much. They got a lot of calls, but she said we don't know if it's a tornado or not. They got if it is, to get into the same. What was that? I don't hear it anymore, Tim. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Whew.
You seen what's happening over there?
What's going on?
There's one going up and joining it.
Yeah?
Going right fucking to it.
That line?
Yeah, there's one coming up from the bottom.
On the left? Oh, the one on the bottom, yeah, it's split.
No, it's coming up. There's one coming up to it.
It's coming up to it. I got it on film right now.
So,
listen.
it just disappeared, Mars.
What did?
The trail that was making that trail went all the way up to there, and it just disappeared again.
Okay, that's what it was on here.
Out an alert warning of asteroid that could hit Earth, causing immense suffering and death if this asteroid will hit the Earth. NASA says, pray if it's so. There's an embedded video by NASA concerning their asteroid redirect mission and Earth planetary defense from celestial bodies inbound for Earth that could possibly devastate Earth as it did 65 million years ago when an asteroid hit the Earth in the Yucatan Peninsula and making the dinosaurs extinct. The White House and NASA discuss asteroid redirect missions. Officials from the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, OSTP, and NASA held a live asteroid redirect mission ARM, for short, discussion at the Space Agency's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. During the event Wednesday, September 14th, 2016, OSTP, as we said, Office of Science and Technology, Dr. John Holdren, NASA's Administrator Charles Bolden, and ARM Project Manager Dr. Michelle Gates arm, as we said, is the Asteroid Redirect mission, highlighted the mission's scientific and technological benefits and how the mission will support NASA's goal of sending humans to Mars, and how the Asteroid Redirect mission will demonstrate technology relevant to defending Earth from potentially hazardous asteroids. Asteroids which are bodies of rock that can measure anything up to 600 miles across and which orbit the Sun. Fewer than 10,000 of these asteroids, which could one day pose a threat to Earth, have so far been identified. So most of them have not been identified. NASA will launch a probe into the skies later today in a groundbreaking mission to bring back a sample from an asteroid, the first for the American Space Agency. The probe is called OSIRIS-REx, short for Origins, Spectral Interpretation, Resource Identification, Security, Regolith Explorers. Will lift off from Florida's Cape Canaveral at 19:05 Eastern Daylight Time. That's around midnight UK time this evening. Built by, the thing is that they do not make it clear in here. They call it an asteroid, whereas Wikipedia calls it a minor planet. Bennu 101955. A carbonaceous asteroid in the Apollo group was discovered by the Linear Project September 11th, 1999. It's a potential Earth impactor. It's listed on the Sentry risk table with the second highest rating on the Palermo Technical Impact Hazard Scale due to a 1 in 2,700 chance of impacting Earth in the 22nd century. So that's in about 100 years. It is the planned target of the OSIRIS-REx mission, which is intended to return samples to Earth in 2023 for further study. Bennu has a mean diameter of about 500 meters, about 1,600 feet, and has been observed extensively by the Arecibo Observatory Planetary Radar and Goldstone Deep Space Network. As a physical description, Bennu is a roughly spheroid shape, resembling a spinning top. The direction of rotation about its axis is retrograde with respect to its orbit. Bennu has a fairly smooth shape with one prominent 20-meter boulder on its surface. This is all from Wikipedia. Origin and evolution. Carbonaceous material composed asteroid Bennu originally came from dying stars such as red giants and supernova. According to the accretion theory, this material came together about 4.5 billion years ago during the birth of the solar system. So asteroid Bennu's basic mineralogy and chemical nature would have been established during the first 10 million years of the solar system's formation, where the carbonaceous material underwent some geological heating and chemical transformation into more complex materials. The long-term fate of Bennu. In a span of time of concern to present-day people, the fate of Bennu that looms most significant is collision with Earth. In a much longer term, millions of years that is, it's more likely that Bennu will be destroyed by some other cause. And we have the selection for OSIRIS-REx mission, the NASA mission, New Frontiers program, launching, expected to reach the asteroid 2019, returning samples to Earth by 2023. The probe will take around 2 years to reach Bennu and will spend 505 days mapping it. It will then attempt to scoop up a sample of Bennu asteroid dust to bring back to Earth. Other space agencies have completed such missions, such as the JAXA, Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency, Hayabusa, which was the first to successfully return a sample to Earth 6 years ago, in 2010. Via the Mirror UK says, quote, NASA scientists have issued a stark warning over an asteroid that could hit the Earth, causing immense suffering and death. The crash could result in mass destruction, says experts. The space agency is sending a probe to collect rock samples from the asteroid dubbed Bennu. Bennu can be seen every 6 years from Earth, but it is expected to pass between us and the Moon. That could tweak its orbit and set it on a direct course for our planet. Experts fear that such a change will result in mass destruction, with NASA investigator Dana Loretta warning, "It has been destined to cause immense suffering and death." The professor of planetary science is leading the mission to collect rock samples from the asteroid, which he says could prove vital data for future generations. The OSIRIS-REx probe will arrive 2018, spend a year surveying Bennu, which orbits the Sun at 63,000 miles per hour. Scientists are hoping that information gathered on the trip will help them to work out how the asteroid's course is affected by absorbing and radiating sunlight. Bennu is approximately, as we said, 500 meters in diameter. That's about 1,600 feet. And asteroids of this size would create craters 7 kilometers across and the equivalent of a magnitude 7 earthquake. In turn, that would cause significant damage across the area of 500 kilometers, about 310 miles. That's according to Michael Bush, planetary astronomer at the SETI Institute. By comparison, the fictitious asteroid in the Bruce Willis film Armageddon was 600 miles wide. So being prepared always is a perfect move towards living an enjoyable life.
Trump admits Nibiru is real, signs executive orders. During his historic inaugural address to the American people, President Donald J. Trump hinted at Nibiru's reality, giving a sly but affirmative wink to millions of people who have eschewed mainstream science and embraced the Nibiru truths. While speaking about the future of American prosperity, President Trump slipped in the comment, "We will unlock the mysteries of space," a poignant remark that served as a rallying cry for Nibiru believers across the world. President Trump stopped short of full disclosure for obvious reasons. The eyes of the world were upon him. Our Washington source added his thoughts. "It's obvious Trump is deeply worried about Nibiru," our source said. Since Obama burned the Nibiru dossiers, Trump knows he is facing an uphill battle. He said what he could. His comment about unlocking space mysteries was a direct reference to the Nibiru cover-up. He had to say something, he couldn't say nothing. Friends and enemies lurked all around. If he said nothing at all, Nibiru believers would have felt disenfranchised. If he said too much, his enemies would have sprung from the shadows. He struck the right balance. Across the country, Nibiru believers rejoiced. Reginald Klopscott, a former merchant marine who operates a Nibiru survival camp in Missouri, said Trump's remark was a wake-up call to all Nibiru debunkers. Recruitment, he says, skyrocketed following Trump's inaugural address. "You ain't gonna believe it," Klopscott said. "After Trump talked, we got 2 new members. We getting ready for that Nibiru. I read somewhere it's made of hardened tritium, so we are fortifying our bunkers. I know that President Trump will soon tell us everything." In Washington, President Trump had a hectic day. He was sworn in, attended a lengthy parade, joined his wife at 2 inaugural balls, and, late in the evening, took his first steps into the Oval Office. He got right to work, signing several executive orders. 2 gutted parts of Obamacare. Our White House source confirmed that President Trump signed at least 2 additional executive orders, one of which dealt with terminating the Nibiru cover-up. With a stroke of his pen, President Trump nullified 30 years of Nibiru secrecy. The executive order rescinded Ronald Reagan's Nibiru Secrecy Act of 1983, an obsolete regulation imposing stiff penalties, 50 years imprisonment and unspecified fines, on Nibiru whistleblowers. That order was controversial, our Washington source said. Reagan went overboard. After NASA's IRAS detected Nibiru in 1983, Reagan signed the executive order. It forbade any public servant, scientist, or person with true and accurate information about Nibiru from ever mentioning the word Nibiru. Reagan even had the word Nibiru removed from dictionaries. Check for yourself, you won't find the word Nibiru in any dictionary, anywhere. Our source was correct, neither Webster's nor the Oxford English Dictionary mentions the word Nibiru. Oval Office chatter suggests Trump is pacing himself. He does not want to steamroll into anything that might backfire and provide the opposition with ammunition to use against him. Regardless, Trump has stepped into a larger universe, and his day one actions clearly illustrate a steadfast resolve seldom seen in fledgling presidents.
Sure that we need Ben Affleck or Bruce Willis to go blow it up. But a massive asteroid is nearing Earth. It will be passing by today. The BL-86 asteroid was discovered back in 2004. It is the closest pass-by of an asteroid until the year 2027. According to NASA, this asteroid will pass within 745,000 miles of Earth. It's about 3 times the distance of the Moon. But it will not be visible to the naked eye. But with strong binoculars or a telescope, you'll be able to see it. The best time to look for it will be between 8 p.m. and 1 a.m. Eastern, provided that it's not overcast as it is right now in D.C. Earlier, I spoke with Dr. Jay Malosh, professor of planetary science at Purdue University, and asked him what sort of impact an asteroid the size of 5 football fields would have if it hit Earth.
Well, let's say it would not be a good day in Washington if it were to strike the city. It would make a crater we estimate about 3 kilometers in diameter. As craters go, that's not all that big, but it would be devastating to be anywhere nearby that. It would not cause an extinction. We're not talking about the kind of rock that killed off the dinosaurs, which was a lot bigger than this one. But asteroid impacts are part of life on the Earth. We estimate that something about this size strikes about every 100,000 years. And there are many craters on Earth that are that size. So, this kind of thing is part of life on Earth. It's a rare event, but it can be very catastrophic when it happens nearby.
Certainly so. And I mentioned in the lead up to this that the next close pass by after tonight would be in 2027. In that case, the asteroid 1999 AN-10 could come within 37,000 kilometers from the Earth's center, according to NASA. That's only, 19,000 miles above the Earth's surface. Again, this would happen August 7th, 2027. NASA says a 0 probability of a collision in 2027. What say you?
Well, I go by NASA. A lot of good people are working pretty hard to make these estimates, to get a good orbit, to predict the calculation. NASA is pretty good about this. We can navigate spacecraft to where we want them across the solar system within a couple of meters accuracy. So this is the sort of thing NASA is really good at, and I think that estimate, backed up by many other agencies doing the same sort of calculation, is a pretty good one.
Yeah, and as you said, a lot of this really is truly a science in terms of gauging the distance and the direction and the trajectory of these asteroids. But things can change, obviously, in space because it's a dynamic situation there. Assuming, just for a second, that one of these asteroids were on a collision course with Earth, and we have to do something because it is a catastrophic event on its way. The very Hollywood creative response would be to launch nukes and blow the asteroid apart. In reality, would that actually work? Would that be a feasible plan, or is that Hollywood nonsense?
Well, it's not Hollywood nonsense. There are a lot of people in the defense community that think that that is probably the best way to deflect asteroids. Many of us in the scientific community think that there are better ways to do that. But a lot of it boils down to how long in advance do we know that they're going to make an impact on the Earth, and how far are they away? For example, we only need to change the velocity of this asteroid by a centimeter a second, something about that fast, if we know about it 10 years in advance. There are a lot of ways of stopping an asteroid that do not involve nuclear weapons that could be deployed 10 years or even 5 years ahead of time and turn a direct hit into a clean miss. If we found something that we're coming in, at the last minute with only a few days warning, probably nuclear weapons would be launched. But it's not a preferred strategy by most of the world outside the defense community.
We talked a minute ago about unintended consequences. Are we looking at the same type of situation there where you might have, now?
Well, that would be one of the consequences. That's right. A detonation just before impact would allow a lot of the debris to hit the Earth. One thing we don't even know is it better to have a concentrated hit in one spot by a concentrated object, or is it better to bust it up in a lot of fragments and then have the fragments fall over a larger area? I don't know the answer to that, and it hasn't really been studied yet, but it's something that needs to be looked at. If you were just one area and you knew exactly where it was going to be, good old-fashioned civil defense could be pretty effective at clearing the area and turn a disastrous hit into a media event where we'd all watch it at a safe distance.
Well, certainly we hope that it all remains theory and never has to be put into practice. Dr. Jay Meloche, professor of planetary science at Purdue University, thanks so much for your insight.
In New York City this morning after the shooting of 2 more NYPD officers. Both are expected to survive. The shooting comes with police on high alert after the murders of 2 officers last month in Brooklyn.
2 suspects involved in the shooting that took place around 10:30 last night. Surveillance video shows the moment the officers came up against the suspect's gunfire.
As they approached the individual, one male was outside, one went inside. They approached the male outside when the male inside began firing at the officers through the doorway.
That deadly shooting at a veterans medical clinic at Fort Bliss in Texas is under investigation. This morning, the gunman killed 1 person before officials say he shot and killed himself.
It was a busy afternoon at the Veterans Affairs Clinic at Fort Bliss in El Paso when reports of an active shooter came in at about 3 o'clock. The VA ordered everyone to shelter in place while authorities searched for the gunman. The suspect shot and killed 1 person before turning the gun on himself.
Colorado Springs, Colorado. The FBI is actively investigating an explosion outside the local NAACP chapter. Bomb squad members combed the scene after an explosive device detonated against the building.
Well, this year's flu season has reached record-breaking levels. Nationwide, at least 21 children have died so far.
So many people are getting sick with the flu this year that nationwide CDC officials are declaring it an epidemic.
Local hospitals are suing Multicare because of mandatory flu shots with the risk of losing their jobs if they don't comply.
Multicare is taking it one step further, requiring every employee to get a flu shot or make a plea to a special committee as to why they shouldn't. The nurses union says failure to do so could mean termination.
And some nurses have been forced to take the flu vaccine even though they have religious or personal objection because they're afraid of losing their jobs. If they don't comply, they can be fired. And that's a completely different animal than we've seen in the past.
The Atlanta fire chief terminated after publishing a controversial book.
In it, he describes homosexuality as a perversion, vulgar, and inappropriate. According to a city council member, the chief then distributed the book to his staff. Cochran said, as a Christian, he is not apologetic for writing it.
And everything I wrote in the book is based on scripture. It's not opinionated.
Newsweek magazine's latest issue is it's a piece bashing the Bible. You can see the cover there. The cover declaring the Bible so misunderstood, it's a sin.
Big Brother invading more of your privacy. FBI setting up decoy cell phone towers able to scoop up your calls and your texts, claiming they don't need a search warrant to do so.
The FBI revealed that it has established cell phone towers so that when you have your cell phone in your pocket or your purse or on the front seat of your car into government computers, and that enables the government to capture any conversation you have on the cell phone or any texts or email.
Wearable technology is once again all the rage at this year's Consumer Electronics Show.
It's giving people quicker access to information, including, probably most relevant right now, information about themselves that they didn't have.
The biggest concerns for everyone who uses technology right now is hacking. Some people say the key to staying secure may actually be getting rid of passwords and PIN codes.
We are working with all the major banks in the United States and overseas and many other companies to replace usernames and passwords. Now that transition, once that happens, you won't have to enter a username and a password and merge it to your biometrics.
Just like you see mobile payments are changing little by little, starting to use your fingerprint, this is a step in moving away from passwords. You've seen a lot of options. Fingerprint technology, Hector's app,
We have these cards that have RFID chips in them, like you mentioned, constantly broadcasting. In 2015,
All cards are going to this, but not just credit cards, debit cards, driver's licenses, student IDs.
2014 is going down in history as the year with the highest level of persecution of Christians in modern times.
Hey, John, well, it is a very dangerous time to be a Christian. Torture, beheadings, destruction of property, all increasing, and that's according to the Christian watchdog group Open Doors USA, which released its annual World Watch List today. Although North Korea and its brutal imprisonment of Christians tops the list of 50 countries hostile to the faith, Islamic extremism remains the #1 threat.
The world is reacting tonight to a terrorist attack in one of the great world capitals that prompted an urgent manhunt and a frantic effort to identify 3 men. Today in Paris, in broad daylight, masked men entered the editorial offices of a satirical magazine.
Their target in the heart of Paris was the satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo. Minutes later, more killing as police officers confront the gunman. One attacker walks to a wounded officer and shoots him point blank.
France is on its highest terror alert. More than 80,000 security forces have fanned out across the country. Officers blocked roads and searched houses in the Picardy region north of Paris. As darkness fell tonight, the hunt continued. Police are going through towns and villages across this entire area. They're on foot, they're going door to door looking for any possible hiding places.
France is reeling from bloody twin sieges in Paris and near the capital, which left 4 hostages dead and 4 others critically injured.
Helicopters flew overhead while snipers took positions on nearby rooftops.
It was a heart-stopping finale. An entire nation on edge, much of the world watching. 2 hostage standoffs and raids unfolding, just minutes but miles apart.
Here's the point. There's been a very serious push from the left saying, let's not over-militarize our cops. That should put an end to that discussion right now. We should over-militarize. We should continue to do that. One last thought. I'm sorry.
No,
after 9/11, I was in the building in 9/11. Right after 9/11, there was the New York City cops. What they did was they did these shows of force. Heavily armed cops would walk around buildings. They'd show up anywhere. 12 cop cars would line up. They'd get out with the full body gear, with the machine guns, ready, just to show the bad guys they're there. That's kind of gone away. Maybe it's time to bring it back.
You want
it's
to live
not
in a
intimidating.
police state, though?
No,
I
I don't want to. It's not a police state.
Okay,
Kennedy.
but let
It's
me.
a safe.
We begin in France with a massive national day of unity.
All those world leaders led by the president of France, by his longtime political rival as well. You see Angela Merkel, the German chancellor there. Others, we saw Benjamin Netanyahu, David Cameron, Mahmoud Abbas, all gathered in one place, all going to...
Moment, Steve. We're hearing more than 1 million people.
Dozens of world leaders expected here today, including the German chancellor, prime ministers of Italy, Turkey, Israel, Jordan's king and queen, Spain is here.
Well, one thing we learned early on about Pope Francis, meanwhile, is the new boss is definitely not the same as the old boss. Next year, the pontiff's focus will be on change, not his own, but climate change.
A new blast of Arctic air has temperatures plummeting across a big portion of the country. It is 30 below zero in Riverton, Wyoming, and a snowstorm in the southwest dusting Las Vegas and blanketing parts of California.
The snow fell so fast in Southern California, more than 200 motorists became stranded on winding mountain roads overnight. By morning, the storm had dumped more than 6 inches of snow in low-lying valleys, breaking a snowfall record set in the 1800s.
Never see this in my life, so it's a lot of snow.
Mentioned Catalina, that's where a fierce windstorm turned deadly. The high winds and choppy water slammed boats ashore in Avalon Harbor.
One witness described it as like a witch's cauldron, with the wind whipping up from all directions. Another, a man who's lived in the island for 45 years, says he's never seen anything like it. Boats ripped from their moorings.
A massive bushfire in South Australia has destroyed homes and is putting people's lives in danger. The fire is out of control on several fronts and threatening the outskirts of Adelaide. With conditions described as the worst since 1983, there are fears that further wind changes could accelerate the fire. Smoke from the affected area northeast of the city can be seen from far away.
Here in the United States, though, a massive Arctic front is plunging much of this country
into a deep freeze today. Temperatures are below zero in several northern states.
Iced over roads Tuesday, causing hundreds of accidents. An invasion of Arctic air could send temperatures plummeting to 25 degrees below in parts of the Midwest. In Iowa, the deep freeze may have played a role in this water main break, crumbling this road and opening an 8-foot crater.
Fierce waves crashing off Muskegon Harbor left the 48-foot-high lighthouse covered in ice. Look at that.
A blanketing, ferocious band of snow, lake effect snow in Michigan, so powerful it reduced visibility to zero and led to a deadly pileup of well over 100 vehicles on the interstate I-94.
A stretch of Michigan interstate looked and sounded more like a combat zone. A winter whiteout, causing a massive pileup, shutting down a section of the I-94 in both directions, killing 1, injuring 22. Police say 123 vehicles, 65 of them semi-trucks, slammed into one another. Some burst into flames. Another fatality and injuries reported in this 50-car pileup just outside Ann Arbor.
To New Zealand now, where the South Island was rocked this morning by a series of strong earthquakes. The most severe tremor measured 6.4 in magnitude, the second biggest since the devastating 2011 quake.
Reported on those earthquakes in Texas, felt in and around Dallas. Well, tonight, word of yet another one. Now, 11 earthquakes in just the last 24 hours. And, of course, the new concern over what's causing this.
Yep, we're having an earthquake. You think California, Japan, maybe Mexico, but Texas?
Did we just have an earthquake? Yes, ma'am, I believe we did.
In the last 24 hours, nearly a dozen small quakes clustered near the town of Irving, leaving Texas-sized cracks.
This video footage captured in Israel shows a woman struggling to walk down a street in a central Israeli city. This storm caused power outages that left tens of thousands cut off from electricity and heating.
This video is not a farce. It's not a hoax. But the United Nations has decided it's going to create a new nation. Scientists are to launch a new nation in space to make travel easier and protect Earth from asteroid impacts. Now, we assume that in order to protect Earth from asteroid impacts, this new nation that will be placed above Earth in spaceships is going to have some very mighty, huge, disastrous, nasty weapons to use in order to smash up or deflect these asteroids inbound to impact with Earth. This is an article on the Express UK. It's not a farce. This is reality. This is the latest United Nations projects being put into effect. That's how scared they are of asteroid impacts towards Earth. And let's remember that in about 150 years, we have a probable potential extinction level event coming towards Earth. That's why they're hurrying to make sure they land on something and find some way to destroy it. Now, a group of scientists have announced, this is what they're planning, to create a nation in space. This nation will be independent of any country on Earth, and it will be used to defend the whole planet Earth against asteroid attacks and make space travel more accessible. Let me read that again. Quote, a group of esteemed scientists have announced that they are planning to create a nation in space independent of any country on Earth, which will be used to defend the planet against asteroid attacks and make space travel more accessible. Quote, the international group of scientists gathered at a conference in Paris to announce their plans for the nation, which will be a station in our Earth's orbit. This is an article yesterday, October 12th. The project is dubbed Asgardia. I guess it stands for guard, a guard guarding Earth. I assume that's what it means. So this will be the new created nation, independent of all other nations on Earth, and it will be called Asgardia. The project dubbed Asgardia, and the first satellite is set to launch next year in 2017. And it will compromise the nation itself. So the nation will be in this satellite called, the nation called Asgardia, one word, creating its own legal framework, its own flag, and any other symbols of nationhood, with a project being developed from there, according to a statement from the team behind Asgardia. The Russian scientist and chairman of UNESCO Science of Space Committee is the team leader, Dr. Igor Ashurbelyi, and he says, quote, "The project's concept comprises three parts: philosophical, legal, and scientific technological. Asgardia is a fully fledged and independent nation and a future member of the United Nations, with all the attributes this status entails. So it will be a full member of the United Nations." This is unbelievable, you know, but this is taking place. Quote, "The essence of Asgardia is peace in space and the prevention of Earth's conflicts being transferred into space. Asgardia is also unique from a philosophical aspect to serve entire humanity and each and every one, regardless of his or her personal welfare and the prosperity of the country where they happen to be born. The scientific and technological component of the project can be explained in just three words: peace, access, and protection. This scientific and technological envelope of Asgardia is a space arena for the scientific creativity of its citizens and companies in developing a broad range of future space technologies, products, and services for humanity on Earth and humanity in space," end quote. So they will be forever in space. My question is, what happens to their bodies when they start losing their bone structure, their muscle tone, their blood circulation, and start aging faster? I mean, there's going to be a lot of problems with their bodies up there. So going on with this article, one of the aims of this Asgardia project is to, quote, "create opportunities for broader access to space, enabling non-traditional space nations to realize their scientific aspirations is exciting," end quote. This is what Professor David Alexander, the director of the Rice Space Institute at Rice University, says. And this project will also be used to protect humanity, as we said, against the threat of deadly asteroids and other, quote, unquote, cosmic hazards, such as, you're not going to believe this, such as rogue satellites. What does that mean? Cosmic hazards such as rogue satellites? Where did they get the idea of rogue satellites? Maybe it was this 1954 news article. Artificial satellites circling the Earth. 2 artificial satellites circling the Earth. The Black Knight satellite, said to be circumnavigating the Earth from pole to pole, unlike our main satellites. And this is the Black Knight satellite, the UFO, said to be 13,000 years old. Had recent ISS, International Space Station, images of the Black Knight following it with lights flashing. So it's really frightening. I mean, what is it doing there? What exactly is going on? So this new nation of Asgardia will be used to protect humanity from deadly asteroids and cosmic hazards such as rogue satellites. Could this be one of them? The Black Knight. Dr. Joseph N. Pelton, who was former Dean, International Space University in France, said, quote, "The Asgardia project, among other things, may help prepare better answers to the future governance of outer space." Governance of outer space, a topic of major concern to the United Nations. The exciting aspect of this initiative, he says, is its three-phase approach to providing broader access to space, promoting peace in outer space, and addressing cosmic hazards and planetary defense, end quote. Now, if anybody wants to join this new nation of Asgardia, they say that although only the first 100,000 citizens signing up will be accepted as citizens, anyone can sign up to be part of Asgardia on the company's website. This is not a farce, people. This is real. This is the world that we're living in today. It's really happening very quickly. Something strange is happening with asteroids. Something strange is happening with rogue satellites, cosmic interference, cosmic hazards, and they're setting up a new nation, which will be a member of the United Nations, to supposedly take care that nobody uses and abuses space in order to threaten humanity. Isn't that something? I'll leave a link below for you for this on the Express UK, October 12th.
Fed up with Earth? Why not join Asgardia, the first outer space nation? It's called Asgardia, and its creators say it will be the prototype of a free and unrestricted society which holds knowledge, intelligence, and science at its core, along with the recognition of the ultimate value of each human life. Named after Asgard, the Nordic mythical city in the sky where Odin and the other Aesir dwelt, Asgardia aims to set a precedent for humans living and working in space. Its main objectives will be asteroid mining and providing the Earth with a line of defense against threats from outer space such as meteorites, asteroids, or man-made space debris. There are no prerequisites to attaining Asgardian citizenship. Their website states that any human living on Earth can become a citizen of Asgardia. If you'd like, you can join the space venture following a link below this video. The ambitious project is not just for show. Asgardia's founders are planning the launch of a satellite in 2017 to 2018, but the program's full scope and magnitude will become obvious in the years to come. Asgardia is a fully fledged and independent nation, and a future member of the United Nations with all the attributes this status entails, said Asgardia founder Igor Ashurbalai. The essence of Asgardia is peace in space and the prevention of Earth's conflicts being transferred into space. The next step after launching a satellite would be the construction of a permanent base in orbit around Earth. Once the base is populated and operational, Asgardia could be on the fast track to becoming an autonomous space nation. This enthusiastic enterprise is benefited by the expertise of several big names in the field of space exploration. Its founder, Igor Ashurbalai, is a Russian businessman and scientist known for his interest in bold aerospace strategies. He is joined by the directors of space institutes from several major universities. Together, they plan to offer an independent platform free from the constraint of a land-based country's laws. But these are all big words, part of a big plan that will need the backing of even bigger bucks to lift its own weight off the ground. And while Ashurbalai is so confident in the program's success that he kick-started it using his own money, Asgardia will probably need to raise hundreds of millions of dollars to see its first wave of objectives complete. Launching something larger than a football field into low Earth orbit costs a pretty penny. By comparison, the International Space Station cost $150 billion to build and operate, and it was a joint effort between NASA, JAXA, the Canadian Space Agency, the European Space Agency and the Roscosmos State Corporation. Granted, the cost of producing materials and getting them into orbit has dropped since work began on the ISS in 1985, but that does not make Asgardia a less daunting task. Despite the technical, logistical and, especially, legal hurdles, Asgardia or something similar was bound to happen this decade. With all the other ambitious plans and the renewed interest in space exploration, it was just a matter of time before someone tackled the whole nation in outer space thing. Whatever outcome it might have, Asgardia will definitely pave the way for any venture that aims to create a home away from home in outer space.